Happy New Year, guys. Baduk here, and I thought I would just make a quick video on this super common attach-and-hane Joseki, as I still see mistakes with this on the regular. I'm going to show you guys the key variations and some tricks to remember them well. And we're also going to compare to this older, simpler slide and extend Joseki, which some people say is gone, but it's really not totally gone, by the way. And so even AI suggests this move sometimes. And so I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of this Joseki versus this one, and sort of when might be a good case to choose this one. So before we get into all that, I would highly encourage you guys to check out benkyoleague.com. It's a multifaceted league and community full of friends helping each other improve together. So you get multiple leagues and sometimes side events to play in. You can get teaching games, game reviews from myself, as well as stronger members. There's prizes, which even losses give you points towards. There's also the Benkyo study group that it comes with, which you can also sign up for this by itself if you prefer, but it is live group classes, as well as access to a large library of class videos and some SGF files and OGS demos. There's no participation requirement each month in any of the leagues. You just play as much as you like and as much as you can. Fully international, it lives 24/7. Flexible scheduling, people really like the way that we do our scheduling most of the time. And there's multiple ways to do it, and it's quick and easy. And you just do it whenever you want. So yeah, you can check out like the study group, the league, which comes with the study group as well. And you can see it comes with a lot of different learning perks. And we're always adding more things and evolving it. And then when you want to get actual guaranteed lesson time with me, then you check out the higher tiers, which also come with some interesting unique benefits of their own, not just private lesson time, but also, these other things like playing with me on OGS while I annotate the game with the hidden comments, stuff like that. So highly encourage you to check out benkyoleague.com, as well as our Discord server. Even if you don't want to sign up to any, Benkyo League or any paid thing, we do have an awesome Discord server that's very active, and we've got a lot of different, channels for different things. And of course, these are the Benkyo League and study group things. And we've also got some normal channels. You can talk about, music and anime and different things like that. So yeah, now let's go back to the video. Okay, so we're going to talk about this Joseki first. So the benefit of this one versus the attach-and-hane Joseki is that the attach pretty much forces black into action. Like if black ignores, then the follow-up is just going to be too bad for black. Whereas with this one, black can actually ignore this. That's one of the two main weaknesses of this move. So black can respond like this to take the corner and make white extend. And of course, if white doesn't extend, you can just go ahead and pincer. And then white basically gets nothing, and they have to run. So white should extend. Black can also pincer if they prefer the right side, and then send white into the corner like this. And for example, make a wall on top like that to lock white inside. There's also this attaching move, although it's a little complicated, but again, getting the right side. Black can also respond like this if they want to emphasize the top side instead of the corner. And also if they want to avoid getting sort of bullied in this kind of way. And then there can be moves like this. So that's what the extend can avoid. And another thing black can do is completely ignore, because these A and B, for example, are miai. So white takes one, black can take the other. So what we can say is that the slide here is not exactly sente. The good part about the slide is that the slide remains fully connected to R14. So like this kind of move by black is no good. And you can see that white stays connected. So when white plays like this, one of the variations is actually for black to Atari and then cut all the way through. So we'll just start with that one. It's one of the more complicated variations, but it is on topic right now. And I'm going to show you how simple it can be if you just remember it this way. So when black plays like this, what black is saying is that they care about the right side. and they don't care about the corner. So what white is going to do is you can see that white can Atari here. And if black tries to save this, then you simply just Atari this other one and capture 2 stones like this. It's going to be pretty bad for black. So if this happens, then black should connect out here, and then white can live in the corner with 1 more move. However, most of the time it's better to actually cut the outside. And the reason for that is simply to make the outside sort of dirtier for black. Like you see that when black connects, it's pretty clean. There's a white stone here, but it's kind of like an egg thrown against a wall, right? It's just a weak, damaged stone that is kind of a throwaway stone for now. So basically black gets a solid wall and white gets the corner. And also white is somewhat sealed in on this side. So it's simple, right? But we don't want to let black be that simple. So we just cut the outside to just dirty this up a little bit. Then, you know, because we can't quite fight yet right now, because if we run around and fight, black's just gonna connect and kill these 3 white stones. If these white stones die, then this black group and this black group become settled, which means this group out here would have no purpose. The point of having a white group running around here would be because black has weak groups and we're trying to keep them weak and benefit from that, right? Why else would we want to make our own weak group? But white needs to make the corner alive first. So white Ataris, double Ataris here, and then simply plays another move to make the corner alive. Black will then Atari here and white can play away. So I want to really make sure that this doesn't seem so complicated to you guys. So we have black cutting all the way through because it's the only way to cut off this stone and therefore try to take something on the right side. And like I said, white could just go here and then just live with capture or here or bumping like this. But white prefers to make black's outside messy, okay? Even if we're not going to connect and fight with this white group right now and instead neglect them and just live in the corner, what you can see is that when black plays here, white still has the possibility of connecting and running around and fighting here. So that's the benefit of us cutting here before we cut in the corner, is just to leave something that black cannot get rid of with only 1 move. You see that when black, in this case, when black connects, it's all finished. It's all connected and clean. So the point of this exchange is that when black adds a move, they would need yet another move to finish this. So like this net, for example, doesn't work because white can just push through Atari, play like this, or even cut first and then push through. So this fight, black would usually push here and white would use this. And then this is possible, and like something like this is possible, and then it's just a fight. I don't recommend connecting this white unless you have some white here or here somewhere. It is possible, but just I would recommend you do it when you have some sort of fighting advantage. Because as you run around, black will develop here and develop here. So some cases you might just be giving away territory to black. So you shouldn't just fight for the sake of fighting. And so, yeah, it's common to play away here now with white. And why does black not double Atari? Because when white pulls this out at some point, then you see that white still could run out with this one. And so if black has to still capture this, then black could end up 1 step ahead in a top fight. So it's better to group white up like this instead of going for the double Atari. Because the double Atari, white can still pull this out. And why does white play here instead of capture? It's because now this one is sente. I mean, black may not do it now. Maybe black plays here first, but this is sente to threaten white, giving white a false eye. But if we play like this, then this black move is actually not sente. So it's going to affect the endgame on the top. So it is better for white to descend than to capture. Okay, so what you can remember about this variation when black is Atarying all the way through is cut and cut. Okay, that's what I recommend. Cut and cut. That's what you need to remember. And then just live and then just play away. So you can see that when white slides, that kind of variation is not possible for black. And so that is one of the main things that sliding prevents. and in my experience, usually the time when even AI would want to slide is when black has a lot of buildup around here, like something akin to a wall, to where if black were to cut white off like this, that black would have a lot of potential over here. In that scenario, it can be good for white to slide instead and then stay connected. Basically to maintain a presence on the right side and prevent black from turning the right side into a big territory. Okay, now we're gonna go into some of the most common variations. First of all, the Atari and connect. That's actually a lot more common than this one. When black connects, white usually connects like this, and then black has two choices, A and B. If black plays B, black usually takes Sente now to play away. Black should not play here now because this marked exchange here actually made white more alive, which diminishes the value of saving the one black stone up here. So if white wants to play this move, they should just play it without the push exchange. That way, this white formation here is more vulnerable. And if white tries to play away, then black can play like pincer or even maybe peep and chase white around. That sort of thing, right? So when black pushes, the two common things for black to do, first of all, by far the most common is Tanuki. But if black already has some potential on the top, maybe more black stones, then push again is possible. This one, white also can Tanuki. And if white hanes, then how this continues is going to depend on what's around here. If you guys want me to cover a video on this, like, follow-up stuff, like this cut, for example, and stuff to do with what happens when black plays double hane, then please comment in the video comments and let me know. Now, when black plays this one, white has two main options, which is to push up or to just extend. So push up means that white can build up potential on the right side, and it affects black's shape a little more. I see people sometimes playing like this, but this is not a very necessary or really that good of a move most of the time. It can be good in some cases, like depending on what's going on here, but in most cases, you don't need it. You just play away. There is a peep here. I'm not going to get into this one because it's very, very difficult to understand and remember, especially for Q players. Even Dan players, find this one a little bit tricky. So let me know if you guys want a video on that. White can just connect, and then usually black plays a little bit more light like this, not like super aggressive like this. This is possible sometimes, especially if black has more black stones around here, but anyway, white's not going to die. So white can jump or white can pincer and then jump, depends on the situation. And then, so if like this, then yeah, white can just also, white can capture a stone here. But white also doesn't have to. It depends again on the situation. If you want to be very, very simple, you can just extend here. In my experience, AI does actually recommend this one decently often. It's not like this one seems to be much more popular with human players, but I actually do see like this move is fine too. It's also very simple. It's actually simpler and more easily and quickly settled compared to this one. So this one's fine. If you're wondering why not two spaces, it's just because there's more problems with the shape. Like this is black Sente, or black may try to get some extra efficiency with two forcing moves, or black may put a stone here later and aim at something like this. There can be problems for white here in the future. So, and even like sacrificing as well. So yeah, so usually here, it's actually a little bit like if we look at this Joseki, like why does black play here instead of here? It's because in the future, if, there's forcing moves like this, but if white gets a stone here, then there can be a weakness here and then like this and cut. So black needs to save the cornerstones, but then there's this one. So that's why. And if black has to play like this, then it's kind of sad for black in terms of territory. So that's why. Okay, so let's go back to our Joseki. So just to summarize what we've covered so far. So the slide is good when you don't want to get cut through here, which is like when you don't want black to cut through and then make a lot here. And I mean, another reason also could be like if you don't want black to get a big and rather thick wall position, then when you play here, it's, you know, it's a little trickier for black to make a wall, especially if you put this high. So there could be a situation even where you think that black has a lot of potential there. And so you don't want black to have an easy time building a big wall here. So that could be one more reason why you slide instead of the attach-and-hane. Okay, when black cuts all the way through, you just cut and cut. And then finish making alive. And then this one you can fight, but especially you can tanuki. And then we get to what we were just talking about, which is the most common, which is, well, at the time of recording, which is Atari and connect. So white usually connects, and then again, so if black plays A, we either play push up or extend. If black pushes, then we extend, and then black usually plays away. But if black has good potential for the top already, like a stone somewhere there, then black also could opt to push here, which is not completely sente. There's also a variation of white going after the stone in the corner, which is less popular or sort of less common, but it is possible. Black actually extends to make their sacrifice bigger, and in fact even extends again. It may seem a bit strange to sacrifice 3 stones. There is a proverb to sacrifice 2 stones instead of 1, but normally we don't extend it to 3. But this time, the math actually checks out because of the end game around the edge here. The way that it works out, it's actually much better for black to do this than to sacrifice like this. Because now black doesn't have any more sente on the edge. So, for example, if this became a black territory, then white can get the T15 sente sequence. And so that's one of the things that that this move takes away, since now this Atari is always going to be black's privilege. Okay, so that's actually a Joseki. So after this, black would typically play away, or just like not play any more moves for this part right here. So that's possible. Now another way to play this instead of connect is actually here. And just to keep things simple, I'm only going to cover what happens when this Atari is played, which will just revert it to this, and then black is going to play away or push. So that's kind of how that goes, right? It's pretty simple. So most of the time, if you don't want to think too much, just Atari, connect, push, and then play away, or play here and play here. Okay, so now that we're done that, we get to pretty much the final 2 things that I want to show you. First of all, you might be wondering all this time, can't black just Atari here and take the stone? So this Atari is like falling into white's trap. This is a super common mistake that I probably should have mentioned near the beginning of the video. Yeah, and so don't do this, and I'll show you why. So white saves the stone, black takes this, and white's going to use the more useful Atari, which is this one. No point Atarying here, because like in that case, why didn't you just play there in the first place, right? But then that would be silly, right? Like you could have gone here at least. So it just doesn't make any sense to Atari here, right? You Atari on this side. Black needs to connect here. If black takes, then this can get even worse for black. White might even be able to bump instead of here. So black connects. And if black Atari's here, white could play like this, but also can also just ignore. Like white could just play away. Even if black takes this, it's not very big. Like it's a false eye and it's just a few points. It's like 2-3 points. And then white can just keep ignoring or just play here. And So white definitely should not capture though, because that's not even a proper Ponnuki and it's a super inefficient blobby empty triangle shape. So if white doesn't want to play this one, which, yeah, I mean, it has a liberty shortage, so black could even double Hane. I don't personally play this one ever. I mean, of course, this doesn't really happen in my games in the first place, but if I play someone lower level, then it does. So I don't really like this connect and push because white's short on liberties and it's very, very clustered. I prefer to just play away. And even if black comes out, we can just sacrifice again and then just take Sente again. Okay, so also even if black has this ladder, we can squeeze. So like even if white doesn't have this ladder, right, then just squeeze. Even if black plays here, we can just Atari and then we can just play away. This is also better for white. If you count black's points, it's only around 10, including captures, which is not really enough. So white is pretty good. White is thick and easily has 10 points here. Even at this moment, it's possible for white to Tanuki. That's a little bit more of a question. But let's say white's just doing some other move, like something like this, let's say, right? Then even if black pushes here, we could squeeze and then just fix one of these cuts. So for example, like this, and then, you know, maybe we just fight, right? So it depends on the board. There could even be a situation where giving it all up could be good for white, right? Like, let's say that if black has no potential on the top, and like, especially if white is like this, then, you know, maybe this push idea is good, right? So it always depends on the board. So you don't even necessarily have to Atari here. So it's good for white. So the only time it's ever good to play like this as black that I've ever seen is if white is surrounded by a lot of black and that black is actually going for the kill. At which point this is just like a stick, and then and this only gives white a false eye at best, right? So that could be a scenario to go for the Atari and capture, but in the normal case, you don't play that. So it's good for white. Now we get to the responses not involving Atari. So we covered this one, we covered this one. So we're going to be talking about, and we're actually almost done because I have a simple answer for this entire group of moves, which is A, B, C, D, E. So against any of these moves, white can play F. And I recommend it because it's correct in many of the cases, or very, very close to the best move. And it's very simple, and that's easy to remember, right? You have these 5 different moves that black can play here, and the same response to all of them. That's amazing, right? So if black extends, then just fix like this. It's more eye shape than playing like this, right? And more connection to this outside stone. If black plays this one, which by the way is the worst out of all these black moves, then white plays the double tiger's mouth. Again, you can see that it has more eye shape and is just better than connecting here. Why would you connect in this way when you can have more eye shape and even, you know, Ponnuki follow up? It's just better, right? And same with this one. And same with this one and this one. So very easy. There are 1 or 2 of them that have other responses as sometimes slightly better. And I'm talking fraction of a point, which you don't have to care about. Like, for example, with this one, it is here, but when they Atari, although I would suggest you just connect because you could just do that for all the other cases too. And it's actually a valid choice here anyway. Like it's one of the 2 top choices here anyway. But there is a Joseki where white plays like this and then Ataris and then just plays away. So that's an option too. You could play like that. But again, you could just connect because connect forces black to connect and then you can still play away, right? When white plays here, there is a Joseki involving white doing this, which is a very strange one because you basically let black take the stone and then you just sometimes Atari here, otherwise just play away. And the reason why this is okay is because white has the ability to shrink black down a little bit with this. And if you think about it, it's not too different from the one that we said is bad for black. Although it is a little bit better, but basically, if we go and we look at that, if you count black's territory, right, 2, 5, and then another like 3 for now, or maybe 4. So it's really only around 9 points, or maybe about 12 if black were to add a move. But that would require black to add an entire move. So that doesn't say much, right? So here and then here. So that's kind of why. Also, you could make a ko, but that's like a special choice. You probably don't want to do that in a normal opening. But late game, you know, this could make sense sometimes to make a ko. But, you know, if you want to just keep it simple, then just play here. The advantage of this for black is just that black now doesn't need to make this Atari exchange. But the subtlety of that, you know, the advantage of that for black is so small that like it was literally going through a lot of study early on in the AI age with the professionals. And it's, you know, this result's probably still well within 1 point or like half a point of the best, you know, variation. So yeah, just don't worry. Just play what's easy, which is this one. So just to quickly summarize the suggestions for this attach-and-hane, right? When they cut all the way through, just cut and cut, and then make your corner alive. When they try to go after the single stone, just Atari here, and you do not need the ladder. You just make a squeeze with a net, and then just squeeze, and then just extend. It's better for white. If you have ladder, maybe it's even better, right? Because then they have to just do this. But don't take this, because your group is actually weak and blobby and inefficient and super terrible. So, you know, black could even pincer you now, and you don't have eyes. And you could make eyes, but you have to make bad exchanges to make eyes. So don't take that stone. It's, you know, empty triangle and basically a dumpling here. So don't do that. Just extend away. Black capturing this, you need to see that black capturing this, first of all, there's 0 influence because it's already blocked by that stone. It's a false eye. It's not a real Ponuki. And points wise, it's really just 3 or 4 points at most. It's very small. You know, even this move even becomes optional. So it's also very, very slow for black. You're already settled enough here. You just move on and close a corner or something super big. And black is like even worse when they add this extra capture. Okay, and then when they play any of A to E, you simply play F. Easy peasy. When they Atari and connect, just connect to the outside. This is 90% of the time, this is what people play. Normally you want to stay connected to the outside, but of course you could do this one. And then yeah, push and Tanuki is probably the most common if you're black, but this is also super common and fine, and then white should add a move. So I hope that helps you guys. And again, let me just remind to check out BenQ League, as there's quite a lot of learning benefits, you know, that add up into the $25 package, including the classes, which is this stuff that it comes with. So all of this is built into all of this. And there's quite a lot here, and the community itself is really fun and friendly and great. So I strongly recommend to check it out, as well as, you know, consider some of the higher tiers if you do want lesson time and some other really interesting benefits. And, you know, if nothing else, Discord. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on in there. Discord.gg/BenQ Baduk. So you can find me on, you know, pretty much everywhere as BenQ Baduk, including the Discord URL. So yeah, hope you guys had a good start so far to your new year. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.